This video is going to show how to lay out the tote bag or the hobo bag. So you are choosing which bag you want to do for this first bag project. So first of all, if you are doing the tote bag, I'm going to talk about both real quickly. The tote bag is a little bit easier to lay out. So you have your, I think it's a little over a yard of fabric, and I just undid it from how it was folded from the fabric store. And then you have one pattern piece here. So it kind of has a few things written here. We want to cut 2 of the outside and 2 of the inside. So I'm going to pretend this is my inside fabric. So I would have to cut it again. So a couple of things to look at when you're laying the pattern down. I want to notice I don't have it in the middle. That would be a waste of fabric on either side. So always kind of bring it to one of the sides, and then we want it nice and straight. And then I know we made these patterns, but on all patterns, even if you buy patterns at the store, there's gonna be a grain line. So it's gonna have 2 arrows. And so this is telling us kind of which way to line up the pattern on the fabric. So we always want this grain line to be parallel to the selvage. So the selvage is the factory edge. And I think I've talked about that already. So the factory edge that it creates on the fabric. So that should always be parallel to that. So we wouldn't want it like that because then that's perpendicular. It has to do with the stretch, especially with a bag. We wouldn't want it to stretch kind of wonky for you. So we've got that parallel, we've got it to the left, and then you're just gonna start pinning and cutting. So the pins, this is the only time we pin parallel. So pin parallel kind of all the way around. I'm not gonna actually cut this, but go ahead and pin parallel all the way around, and then once you're done pinning, you would start cutting. So this is not with the rotary cutter, this is with shears, so fabric scissors. And then that would be your 2 pieces out of your inside of your fabric. Couple other things to look at here. On the pattern, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 little marks here. So you would grab a marking pen once you're done cutting it out and just make a little dash on the actual fabric. Just kind of lift it up and make a little dash there. That's going to be useful later on because it tells you where to place your handles. So we would cut that out of our one layer, then cut it out of our other fabric. And then on the pattern, it also says, also cut 2 pieces that are 3 by 28 inch straps. So that is not an actual paper pattern piece. That you would need the rotary cutter and the mat. So you have all of this extra that you can cut your straps and your pockets, and you might have a little bit left over. So that's for the tote bag. For the hobo bag, we have this pattern here. It's a little bit different. So you are going to change how you have your fabric. So what I'm gonna do is open it up, and I am just bringing the selvages to the center crease and then smooth that out. So this selvage comes to here in the center and then smooth that out. Then bring the 2 folds together, and you wanna stack them right on top of each other. So this just saves you an extra step. It's allowing you to cut your 2 pieces at once. So now on the pattern, you've got one side that says place on fold, and it's always gonna look like this. It's gonna have a little arrow, and it tells us that this side needs to be placed on the fold. Super important. We have a 2-fold side and we have a 1-fold side. If you wanna end up with your 2 pieces, you have to put it on the 2-fold side. So I'm just gonna turn this and lay it down just like this. So I have it placed on the fold of the 2-fold side, so then when I cut that out, I am not cutting the fold. You never cut the fold if it tells you that. And then that way it'll open up and it'll be the 2 pieces. So just like before, you would grab your pins, and this is a little bit thicker of a pattern, and then just start pinning. Okay, so we would pin all the way up and then use your fabric shears to cut. There are 3 notches. So we have 1, 2, and then 1 way up here. You want to cut around those. So please, please, please do not chop those off. If you see a pattern that has been cut off, make sure that you cut out. You want to cut around that so that you have that later on to line up. So you're just going to cut around this. We don't cut the fold side. And then you would want to do that out of your other fabric as well. They are all numbered. So whatever number you use, remember that, write that down somewhere if you have to cut out your other piece another day, because it's going to be a different shape. Some of the patterns we altered a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that I use number 6 on both of my fabrics. Okay, so then we will keep pinning. Obviously you need more than 2 pins. Pin, and then cut that all the way around. You're not chopping the paper pattern, you're keeping it nice and straight and cutting it all the way.